Good evening.
Good evening.
Welcome all on board. So, uh, okay. So this is the Meet the India Scholar Country team, and I, as a moderator, will be very happy to invite our esteemed country team representatives, Dr. Rajat, Dr. Anita, Dr. Gunjan, Dr. Satabdi, Dr. Malatesh, Dr. Shubhendu. So we would like to hear your experiences about the different projects you had done so far. So it would be a very proud moment for India. And I would run you through the slides. Is it visible?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, so this is the EN52 Meet the India Scholar Country team, as I mentioned before. So I would request everybody to participate actively, to listen, and to ask your questions in the chat box that we have. So we'll take the questions one by one after the presentation from our esteemed panelists. And yes, so we have very important, speakers tonight. So we have four themes basically, and among the four themes we have the teaching and the training technology, the experiences during pandemic, and its vaccine rollout, adaptive leadership, and vaccine hesitancy. So we have Dr. Malatesh, we have Anita, we have Dr. Gunjan, we have Dr. Bala, Dr. Rajat, Dr. Shubhendu, Dr. Satabdi, Sohini, Dr. Suchi, and myself. So I would be moderating this session, and the total time that is given to us is 45 minutes. Each speaker will get minimum 3 minutes to deliver his or her speech, as we have 10 speakers, and we have kept 30 minutes for the presentation and the rest 15 minutes for Q&A session. Now, the points to be discussed over here is that what was done basically, and when it was done, the project, where it was done, and how did you meet the challenges, what surprised you, and also to delve on the strengths, weaknesses, and the opportunities and the threats of the project. So I wish you all the best, and we would like to invite one by one the different speakers. So now uh, as we can see that we have in our window panel the different speakers. So Dr. Malatesh, can you please share your screen and introduce yourself?
Yes, ma'am. So I don't have a slide to share. I will be speaking orally. So if that is fine, I'll continue, ma'am.
Sure, please go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. Greetings to everyone. I would like to share my experiences which happened in this COVID-19 situation related to immunization. Myself, Dr. Maltesh, working as assistant professor in Karwar Institute of Medical Sciences, Karwar. It's a small coastal city located in Uttar Kannada district, again a coastal district situated in Karnataka, India. So the basic idea that originated in me was out of the need. We had lockdown initially where there was complete shutdown of routine immunization services in the country, which affected our district also, and gradually unlocking happened in many phases. Of course, unlocking was in the pipeline, but healthcare workers were also equally scared about the safety related to COVID-19, probably because they may contract from the visitors, especially the parents of the children who came to immunization. This is one part. The other part is many of the parents did not bring their children to the vaccination site. So with this idea, I participated in COVID-19 peer hub exercise 1. I also made this a part of the exercise. since I had many COVID-19 duties to perform, I just performed only the pilot study, which was done in our district and city, Karwar, again a coastal city here. I pilot tested with just 4 healthcare workers, which I am planning to expand it to nearly more than 100 healthcare workers in the district. The idea was simple. Since many of the healthcare workers were already using WhatsApp very frequently, where they received numerable messages from multiple sources. So I thought, why not we provide them adequate training using the same platform which they are very familiar with, and also the curated messages can be provided both in asynchronous and synchronous, because WhatsApp has one limitation: we cannot share the material as it is in a live group discussion, and also it has a limitation of 8 members per session. So I thought, why can't we prepare certain materials which can be shared, and also certain ready-made materials which are provided by Government of India and our state Government of Karnataka. These curated messages were floated in the WhatsApp group initially, followed by a discussion. Since I had only 4, I did not face the limitation of WhatsApp. So these were very familiar with the WhatsApp group and were happy talking to me over video conference. And it made them familiar with the safety protocols which are in vogue, as well as what needs to be done for routine immunization to be strengthened in their settings. So with this, I am planning, since I have certain content ready now, so it can be launched to a larger healthcare workers, larger group of healthcare workers, where they are eager to learn through an appropriate trainer. Since I am training for both immunization as well as in the field of HIV TB, I know that healthcare workers are gradually adapting the technology. They need not be tech savvy to adapt it. We are using the platform which they are very familiar with. So with this brief idea of mine, I would also like to summarize using what went well and what did not went well. So what went well was people were familiar with the platform and they were ready to participate. What did not went well was the available timings and poor internet speed. Since ours is a coastal and hilly terrain, sometimes it is difficult to get good internet speed. That was also discussed by my country team. I am thankful to the entire country team for providing valuable inputs during the initial phase of preparation. That also helped me in preparing certain materials or curating the materials for asynchronous learning. I sent it previously also. This can be further worked upon and strengthened so that routine immunization is strengthened in our country. So with this, I would like to thank the entire country team for providing me an opportunity, as well as the Teach to Reach conference, and all the listeners. Over to you, madam. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Malatesh. It was really a very nice experience that you have shared with us, and there is so much to learn, from each other. And we are really happy to, have you on board and listen from you. So next, we have in turn Anita with us amongst us. So we'd like to hear from Anita about her experiences. Hi, Anita, and please introduce yourself. Anita, you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So first of all, Tanushri, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. It's a great platform and it's a great opportunity to share my experiences. And without wasting my 3 minutes, I'll begin with the things that which I have feeling personally, which I have experienced in the just recent 10 days. So basically, there are three facets which India is presently facing. First is, of course, we all have witnessed this nationwide rollout of COVID vaccine, and it is having a wonderful response across the country. We all know that. And secondly, there is a decline in the infection rate also, as well as deaths due to the corona pandemic. And the third is that a little casualness we have seen among the public, in the general public, and even ourselves also, we got casualness towards the preventive measures of corona, like wearing mask, hand sanitizer, social distancing, and also on and so forth. But you know what is happening, what I have seen through just in the recent past, and that is the experience from my hometown locality again, where just 4 or 5 days back, there is one lady who sadly demised due to the corona. Okay, and she fought almost for 20-25 days, but then she couldn't make it out. So now what is happening? That's what actually I want to say, and how the things are coming up still. So that's what actually I wanted to focus upon and point out. So what is happening in the locality? Again, the people are very much scared. Oh my God, it's a corona again. Again and they are relating it now with the new strains which we all got reported from across the country. Second, one thing happened actually is even my father the very next day got hospitalized. Okay, and he was hospitalized due to some other reasons. He got some diarrheal infections and all that. So for that, actually, he got admitted into the hospital. But then even in my family, among all family members, they were all scared. Oh my God, is it something that so it, because she stays just next to my house, that lady who got expired. So we were so frightened up. Even I was frightened up. I live here in Delhi, but then I was so frightened up. Oh my God, what happened? So suddenly that entire vicious cycle of that scare and that frightenness came along to us. And on the other side, we are so casual now. So suddenly all that entire community is so scared and now so vigilant. Okay, again, that mask thing, the sanitization thing, everything has came back. Okay, so another thing is that the other part of the story, as we know, that during the rollout in the second and the third day of this vaccine campaign, we have seen a little vaccine hesitancies of frontline health workers as well. This was reported at many places, like one of our team colleague or teammate in our RISE project. She also reported that now the healthcare workers are also getting a little bit hesitant towards this COVID vaccine rollout. And in the Pune, I was reading the paper, and then in the Pune, there was a news that the official said, don't consider it as a guinea pigs. So we all know that what guinea pigs are used for. So they use such words because in the third thing is that, of course, that third trial, which is still awaited the results and all that. So people are making those type of, notions and all those things. So now India is packed up with all these different and very important factors. And now it is the responsibility, like how we should take up and go forward with these three challenges, which I really think out. And being a researcher as a parent background, I was just thinking of like what we can do exactly and what can be the coping strategies to deal with all such things. But then on the very local side, of course, I said my parents, and I just try to communicate even with my community somehow. So because still like we have a better communication in our community somehow. So I just try to communicate. Don't get frightened up. It is nothing to frighten up. Of course, we have to maintain and follow all those preventive measures. But being at a very lower level of our work, I can't do much because, of course, I don't belong to ministry, and the guidelines are which
Hi,
are.
Amita. Has the connection gone?
Pardon? Can you hear
Shuchi?
me?
Dr. Shuchi, can you hear me?
Okay. So the thing is that this is the way which
Hello,
I want.
Shuchi?
Yes. Yeah. So this is what I want to sum up.
Yes,
India
we
is
can
still,
hear.
though we are doing the successful rollout of the COVID vaccines, but on the other side, of course, the vaccine hesitancy is really, really a big challenge for India, and it is really a tough conditions. And let's see how we are going to tackle with that. So, with all those words and things, and with the good hopes, I close my session. Thank you so much again, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Anita. It was really a very nice story and real life story that you have stated and shared amongst us. So much of vaccine hesitancy cases. So it was really wonderful and unique. Now I would turn to next esteemed speaker, Dr. Rajat. So Dr. Rajat, please share with us who you are and what you do, and also your project.
Yeah,
Thank you. Over to you.
yeah. Thank you, Dr. Dhanushi. I'm Dr. Rajat Garg, the National Program Manager in JSI, and I work in the RISE project of JSI. So to start with, as we have less time, so I'll start what actually is RISE. So RISE is basically a rapid immunization project under the stewardship of Ministry of Health and Family Welfare and in collaboration with state government and immunization partners. The Rapid Immunization Skill Enhancement Project was designed by JSI to upgrade the immunization skills of the health workers who provide immunization services. So RISE is actually an innovative capacity building methodology complementing the existing immunization training mechanism. In simpler terms, it is a mobile app. Animated training videos on immunization are delivered to health workers. And the app captures real-time progress data for the health workers as well as the supervisors. So they can, supervisors can track the training progress, the health workers can see their training progress. This RISE project has been piloted in 5 districts of India from March to July 2020. And there is a provision, there are 5 modules that have been pushed through the app. And these 5 modules, there are 5 certificates. There is a provision that the health worker can generate a certificate on completing the module. So that was implemented and very well taken by the health workers. So I would like to share my experience that during the planning phase, when the RISE was envisioned, then COVID-19 was nowhere in the horizon, and it was that RISE will strengthen the existing building activity. But the went live from March to 2020, and it was the same time where the COVID pandemic was there and there was lockdown. So, but the participants managed to complete their training at their own pace and with the convenience of their home or at their workplace. So, what happened was actually that, as we know, that due to COVID-19, face-to-face interaction were difficult. So, the RISE training we supported the learners to the WhatsApp groups. So, like if the health worker got stuck somewhere, we used we created WhatsApp group at sub-district level where health workers were there. We can post the screenshots, and those screenshots can be seen by the program managers and provide necessary support. And we can do the term as troubleshooting as areas for monitoring and troubleshooting the problems for the health workers, and also for appreciation, and also for monitoring and so it is quite apparent that RISE digital learning platform is a cost and time effective model of capacity building. One lingering takeaway is that much can be achieved by motivating the health workers. And in our case, the health workers, they really got motivated on receiving the certificate. And they used to share their certificate with their peers, with their family members on WhatsApp group. Such was the motivation among the health workers that when the modules went live at 12 a.m. in midnight, then by 2 p.m. or 2 a.m. or 3 a.m., many health workers used to take the training to get the certificate. They used to post their certificates on the WhatsApp groups and that appreciation that they received, that gave them a sense of satisfaction as well as self-achievement. We have already received the request that we have learners to provide training on other topics like maternal newborn care, COVID-19. So, and regarding the supervisors, they also felt empowered because real-time dashboard give them live update on the program performance. So I think the application can be scaled up, and the capacity building through digital platform is now not a far-sighted dream in India, and it is very much attainable, and we can move to online learning platforms for training of health workers, and this is a very good experience. We can utilize channels as Dr. Malatesh has already mentioned. We can utilize channels like WhatsApp, which are there, which can be used for mentoring the health workers and as well as in other training activities. So thank you. That's all from my side.
Thank you, Dr. Rajat. When I hear this RISE project from you, again and again. It gives me new ideas and so many things that you have done. So it's really appreciative, and it's so nice to hear that we are doing something, and you are developing modules, and the healthcare workers, they are getting motivated, and they are getting appreciation from their higher authorities. So that in itself is such a remarkable job. So now, thank you very much. We'll now turn to Dr. Shubhendu, who's amongst us, and I would like to invite him to say a few words about his topic and to introduce himself. Thank you. Over to
Am
you,
I
Dr.
audible? Okay.
Yes, loud and
Okay.
clear.
So first of all, I want to thank Teach to Reach platform, Dr. Tanushri, Team India, and those who have spared from the conference to listening to our Team India discussions. I am working with World Health Organization as surveillance medical officer, and just I want to share the COVID-19 vaccine rollout. I think we all know the population of India is a very big. It's more than 1.3 billion, and to plan a immunization drive in that population for such a unprecedented pandemic is a very challenging task. And again, in this rolling out this vaccine, first time we take the help of the technology regarding training and the planning purpose. And I want to share, and this is going to give the immunization program in India a new horizon in the coming days. First of all, I want to say how we proceeded for the vaccination in the leadership of government of India and respective state government. First, we prioritize the sectors we are going to vaccinate. First, the healthcare worker, then the next category is going to come the other frontline worker, then the 50 plus, and the other comorbids. The entire line listing has been done software based cloud based module we call CoWIN, that is done by UNDP. And the training, the majority of the training requirement we have completed. The launch of the vaccine is fixed in the month of December, and the vaccine is launched in the 16th January. You can imagine the entire such a big country like India, the entire training has been completed by the means of virtual means. I think the teach to reach concept, that the virtual mode we can do training, this can help us a very much. And regarding the session planning and everything, very stringent approach has been adopted. Everywhere there is a plan of social distance or the physical distance of 6 feet, that is what is advocated by the WHO, has been followed. The session planning for 100 beneficiary, there is a one vaccinator. A team of 4 person has been nominated, and 2 vaccines are there in the running. One, presently the Covishield is going, then the Covaxin is going to come. And with the help of the digital platform, so many CMEs happening, because some of the medical professional are there, because one of the challenge we are initially faced, we have the hiccups of the program, the vaccine hesitancy among the medical professionals. But by the means of this different discussions, different experts on the field, majority part of the acceptance remains started, that's going to happen. And another thing, that AFI management is given very important priority, because we know as from the data available from the both the vaccines are quite safe, but still every site is being prepared for any unforeseen event that may happen. The adrenaline kits, and India is already prepared, that they have entrusted the ANMs to administer the single dose of adrenaline, that for a single dose in a IM route. So that's also give very confidence to the ANMs also conducting the sessions. So by that, we are very hopeful that India will definitely succeed by means of technology. The entire population, maybe it requires some time for the vastness of the population, but we will definitely able to reach the quite a palpable amount of coverage by end of 2021. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shubhendu. You really have expressed so eloquently, the condition, the current situation we are going through after the vaccine rollout, and about the digital learning that you had, talked of. So yes, now we are moving to Dr. Shatabdi, who is amongst us, and I would request her to introduce herself and share her experiences with us. Over to you, Dr. Shatabdi.
I'm very glad to meet my country. I'm Dr. Shatabdi Mitro, working as assistant professor cum epidemiologist in Jagannath Gupta Institution of Medical Sciences. It is situated in a less district of West Bengal, India. And along with it, my project work with routine immunization, it was a challenge for of the birth doses of vaccines during the routine during the both pre-COVID as well as the COVID era, because in this part of the my state, it was found that a huge number of newborn children are get deprived of their birth dose. In the latter part of the life, the doses are not given. In the adaptive leadership program, I have taken this one to get in, especially the are delivered in the different private health one because and there are many technical adaptive aspects, but the adaptive much more because we here work with who are not doctor, but they are the local practitioners, local RMP practitioners, that is the kind of the rural health practitioners. Some this kind of people are there, and the main problem is that besides the people, that is the carers of the children, are aware of the importance of the doses. The most important thing is here that the healthcare service providers there, mainly the authority or the owners of the beneficiaries losing their clients with effort to these children after birth to vaccine. So having this challenge, I made a plan, and number of was with the carers in some group. Some problem of having those besides the beyond going to the rules of FGD, I have taken a bit people in a group and finding the issues that they are this is the thing, but beyond going awareness is issue at all. If they even become aware, there is issue, that is the barrier is there in their from their own community services, because the are from there the time at night times of the odd hours, they have to depend those RMP and those and so I have also talked to the other factions like my authorities, those people who are the owners of the private hospitals. It is very, I should only this is the main that is I don't this, they are not denying. They will tell that yes, I am ready to say. They will not. So this project is always going on, and I think it had to carry on because it's a question of the behavior change communication, not only us people of the society. So it is also going on. Dr. Gunjan have already heard it, because in that I many times shared these things, and the progress of this is also taken to the notice of the authorities, and they are always a very participant there always. So this much from me, and thank you all.
Thank you, Dr. Shatabdi. It was really a great, experience that you had shared with us. Now on the panel we have Sohini Sanyal amongst us. So I would, request her to introduce herself and to share her thoughts about this. Sohini, over to you. Sohini, are you muted?
Hi everyone, can you hear me? Okay, I'm not muted, so I hope everyone.
You are audible.
Okay, excellent. All right. So I would like to,
Yes,
talk a
we
little
can
bit
hear you.
about using technology in training. I'm unmuted from my side.
Hear
You
you,
are
Sohini.
muted.
Loud and
Okay.
clear.
Excellent. I'll go on then. Yeah. So,
Yes.
this is a lovely quote I found today, that any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. So I think whenever we adopt technology, what we are trying to do is create a magical experience for the user. And in our case, the user is the learner. So you've already heard a little bit about Rapid Immunization Skill Enhancement, which is a project under the aegis of the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India, and funded by Gavi under HSS2. I will just like to talk about, who we made it for. We made it for healthcare professionals in India, mostly the grassroots frontline level workers. And one challenge that we face in terms of using technology for training is to ensure that we are using training aids that are appealing, that are interesting, and at the same time, it is of benefit to the learner. The learner is able to get some information that they can use in their daily roles and responsibilities. So as you can see, we have used, cartoons, we have used interesting infographics in order to make any training that we do really interesting to the learners. And if you look at the picture about OPV, you will also see that we have used infographics to talk about some key important, information that healthcares really need. Talking about challenges that we have solved, another challenge that we face is to understand that in online training or in training using technology, is the learner, able to grasp the knowledge that we've shared? Are they able to understand what we are trying to say? So for that, what we have done is we've put quizzes, we've put in games, in the content. And you can see a little snippet here of a game of, you can see a maze of roads. And every time the learner answers something, they can, take a shorter route. And last but not the least, whether you're doing a classroom training or an online training, you want to give a moment of achievement to the learner. You want to make them feel proud of what they've done. And, like the way we love our certificates, they love their certificates too. So here too, we have technology which has helped us. We give an e-certificate instantly, the moment module is finished. A learner can get a certificate of completion like you see at the bottom of the screen. And finally, coming back to the magic that I spoke of, our aim is that we can create a magical experience, of course, for the learners, but at the same time that they derive enough knowledge and information from any training capacity building intervention to be able to engage, more effectively with the community, to be able to provide better immunization services, and also to be able to increase immunization coverage wherever they work. So that's all from me. Thank you so much. And over to you, Tanushree.
Thank you, Sohini, for the excellent magical presentation. Actually, has just left because of some other commitment. She has got, I think, she has got to moderate another session. That was a wonderful session, as also mentioned by Dr. Shatabdi in the chat. I can see. So that was excellent, and so I think we can move to the next speaker. I can see that Dr. Bala is there. So I would request Dr. Gunjan to please take the session. Can you take the session, Dr. Gunjan?
Thank you. So I think Dr. Suchi needs to speak before me, or should I go ahead?
Dr. Suchi has just come back. She was not there, so that's why I said your name. So Dr. Suchi, would you like to present now before Dr. Gunjan?
Yeah, maybe that's like if Dr. Gunjan, like I will be happy to present first if Dr. Gunjan does not have any problem. Is I audible?
Okay. Yeah, you are loud and you are clear.
Hello?
And
Is I audible?
Yeah, Dr. Gunjan has given a thumbs up, so I think we should proceed. Yeah, Dr. Suchi, we are waiting to hear from you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Gunjan. Yeah. So thanks everyone for just presenting me about me. I can introduce myself. I am basically Suchi. I was actually research. I was earlier working with in TAGI National Technical Advisory Group on Immunization Secretariat, and also with Ministry of Health and Family Welfare on a lot of projects like Mission Indradhanush, and also there were like an INGIS survey. I was like being a researcher. Now I'm working with Campbell Collaboration, where I'm working on very thematic areas, different thematic areas. But immunization is one of the main thing where I'm like I have learned a lot. When I applied for Teach to Reach area, like Teach to Reach level 1 and then level 2, it's like it was a great experience in terms of technologies, how best we can use the technology. First and foremost thing which I really want to park it to and use in my immunization like area is like how we actually ask every time, how we actually ask the commitment, like in terms of training, because I've been a facilitator as well. How actually, like first and foremost, how we ask the like the participation to share their commitment, like are they committed to be present in the training? So the kind of training that we give, actually we give it in the district level and also the state level national monitors in terms of Mission Indradhanush. So what I really liked in the lot of technologies that is used in Teach to Reach, like obviously now it's like we have to move into the online platform. So the campus wire, the peer hub, like if we are actually working on some like evidence generation, because I've been from a like say if we are generating some evidence on COVID, like what's the vaccine hesitancy and what are the reason, what are the available evidence on it. So like all this platform that I learned from this Teach to Reach, like, and then Hopins, and then obviously Zoom I've earlier also used it, but the breakout sessions, I really like this, and I really think that immunization team member, and now obviously India is actually being in a digital, like we are also like saying that we are a digital thing, and then I see that is actually when I was a national monitor for Mission Indradhanush, I see that we actually using SMS as one of the so what is like in terms of reporting, the frontline workers are actually using SMS services. So how there are a lot of other technologies based, obviously the Telegram, it's like it's actually like a kind of SMS only, the chat groups and all these things. We can use such kind of things and train our ASHA workers, like if they want to use some other platform. But using any technologies, I think so first is like doing a pilot testing. So what all the platforms that we have learned in this Teach to Reach, I think so it's best. I know it's like it's a pandemic area, a pandemic time, but then maybe we can just do the pilot testing in the field and then see what is more frontline workers are comfortable with. They are comfortable with WhatsApp chat, WhatsApp groups, I know. And then they also start using the messages and then reporting the information, reporting the data from the district level to the state level. And this is coming up, but like how we actually enhance it and use all these systems, that's what I think so we have to do our pilot testing. But it was a great learning in Teach to Reach level, and I'm sure that we actually have, because we are moving into digital platform, and then hopefully we will use all these things into our working. Many thanks for the opportunity, and like obviously the team is like rocks, Team India rocks. Now I request Dr. Gunjan to.
Thank you, Dr. Suchi. Thank you, Dr. Rajat. Dr. Tanushri is not here, and since we are already over time, I'll keep myself very brief. First of all, Thank you to the wonderful Team India for this opportunity. Thank you to PGLF, the adaptive change advisors, the Boost community. So I've been a part of multiple courses. One of them was on adaptive leadership. I presently work as a program officer with the vaccine delivery team at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation's India country office. So just summarizing what we learned from the adaptive leadership course, giving a few broad strokes, I think we have two discrete words, adaptive and leadership. And I think adaptation is what drives us forward. There cannot be a better definition of how we as humans have adapted in the last year, the year just gone by. And the other term, of course, is leadership. So the question which we need to answer is, can leadership be adaptive? And if a leader is adaptive, then how can he or she be a leader? So that's, I think, the most important learning that I had from the course was the changing dynamics and the changing spectrum of leadership in the current times, and how leadership differs from authority. Also summarizing, I think, how the course was. So I've tried to coin an acronym of TIE. The course has been truly transformative. I think it has changed the way we think. The course has also been inspirational because it has taught us to do things within the available resources, what we have at our disposal, and not look at avenues and or opportunities to keep on exploring additional resources. And overall, the course was very engaging. The whole structure of the course, the mentorship provided by Nov, Eric, Reda, Shalini, everybody, the Boost community team, Liz, was very great. In per se, what did I gain? So, and I can speak also on behalf of Dr. Shatabdi and others who have been on the course. What we gained were, I think, the 3 T's. So think more, think in different ways, look at the situations differently, look at the challenges differently. If there is a challenge, there is bound to be a solution, and those solutions can be tackled better using the adaptive means, which essentially means how do we accommodate and how do we look at different situations from a more let's say holistic perspective, and bring in that humane aspect of reasoning. So the first T for me has been think more. The second T for me has been trust more. So adaptive leadership is also about partnerships, of working together with colleagues. And the last T is being more transparent. So in our thoughts, in our ideas, in our communication, I think transparency is something which we need to inculcate as professionals and specifically as leaders in whatever capacity, wherever we work. So I'll pause there. Overall, a great experience, and thank you again for this wonderful. Thank
you. Very well said, Dr. Kunjan, and you summarized the adaptive leadership very well. And it is for every us to learn, because leadership is something that helps us in growing professionally. So that was very well said and very well presented, and it was really enlightening for all of us. So I think Dr. Tanushree has joined back, and I don't know, Dr. Bala, I could see his message that he wants to join. He entered the session also, but I think maybe there is some issue that he is not able to join. So over to you, as Dr. Tanushree is back. Over to you, Dr. Tanushree.
Okay, so thank you very much. I had to join because I could not leave this session. It's very dear to my heart. So I just wanted to present my slide, and just one slide for that thing. Yes, so it is, as you know, that mine was actually on jigsaw technique. So I applied this technique on the healthcare workers. And as you know, the jigsaw is something which you can, assemble, and you can again, make it apart. So it was just like this. The model of the healthcare workers was that first a home group was made. So I took 100 healthcare workers, and they were divided into 10 each in each group. So here it shows 5, but it was basically 10 people in 10 groups. Now what happens is that each one is assigned a number. So maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? So in each group, so the teams are A, B, C, D, E, F, like that. So it goes on like that. Now what happens, that is a home group. Now this is again rearranged into the expert group. Now what that expert group consists of is that you take all the ones of team A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, whatever it is, you take all the ones together. You take the number 2s of all the groups together. So similarly, you take all the 10s from each group and you assemble the expert group from 1 to 10. Now, what is the importance of this group is that this expert group has been given a topic, right? So it may what I gave to the immunization staff was the cold chain equipment. So one group was talking about learning about cold chain equipment. The other is to discuss about the vaccine vial monitor. Then the other was the electrical equipment. So it went on. So each group was discussing on their own topic. Now what happens is that they brainstorm for they learn about from each other, and they are also provided textbooks. They are told to get information from the online, that is Google and other places, and to do the peer learning. Now what happens after this, again these people are sent back to their home group. So you can see a bi-directional arrow. So they are again sent to the former group. Now again, when these people go from expert group to the home group, what happens is that each one of them, suppose this group, the first group was learning about cold chain equipment. The second was on vaccine vial monitor. The third was electrical equipment. So it goes on. So each person from each group, they assemble in the same group, and they kind of teach each other. They deliberate and they present in front of their group about the different things that they had learned. So what happens is that the owners of learning and training is up to themselves. So, and as a result, what happens, since they do it by themselves, it actually motivates them and also motivates the other. So one thing that was very important was the time issue. So because it needs a lot of planning, and it took about 2 hours for assembling the whole thing, because you have to pull them apart, make it, and again send them back. So so the better things that came out was it helped in group dynamics. A lot of knowledge inheritance was there, enjoyable at the same time. So training, teaching, and these all things must be they must impart knowledge. At the same time, it must be useful as well as enjoyable. Until and unless one enjoys that, so maybe a healthcare worker, he or she must enjoy that, so that it can be taken, it can be made into his system or her system. So that is what I got from my project, and it really helped me a lot. So if I am talking about the challenges, yes, time was there. Threat was basically COVID-19 pandemic. And I would say that the biggest hurdle, what I would say, the weakness was, lack of, workforce, because you need a lot of planning and you need many people at the same time. And apart from that, the strength was, as I shown, that it gives very good, results. So this was my talk. So I would, hand over to Dr. Rajat, and I'm very happy to present my project. Thank you.
That was really nice and interesting to hear about the jigsaw, Dr. Tanushree, and that was a great experience. that you shared. And I think it was really a very enlightening session by everyone. And I think I really feel myself that I have learned a lot from the experiences of everyone. And I hope the others must have felt in the same way. And these events and sessions are for cross learning, and I think we achieved that motive of self learning. And with these words, I would like to hand over it to you, Dr. Tanushree, and for this closing remarks and words, because I think we are done with time.
Thank you, Dr. Rajat. I'm really appreciative of all the team members of India. They really contributed a lot to today's discussion, and I'm really, thankful to Dr. Rajat for taking the responsibility when I was gone, and he really did, massive good job. And kudos to, I would say it by name, because you all people helped us making this session a success. And thanks for your beautiful coordination. First, by order, I would like to mention about Dr. Malatesh, Anita, Dr. Gunjan, Dr. Rajat, Dr. Shubhendu, Dr. Satabdi, Chohini, Dr. Bala, Dr. Suchi, and the whole TGLF team. So thank you very much. And at the end, with this vote of thanks, I would like to thank Dr. Shalini for guiding us all throughout. Without her, things were impossible. And at the same time, I would like to thank all the people in this session who had given their time, valuable time, and listening to us. So thank you very much, and have a great day.